Thank you, Faye. Good evening, everybody. Wonderful colour as the two sets of players emerge from the tunnel just in front of us. Brighton fans who have all been kitted out with white and blue flags, waving them high into the Sussex sky. A near capacity crowd greeting their heroes for the first time in 18 months. And as we've seen up and down the country over the past 8 days or so, those supporters absolutely delighted to be back packing our stadiums. Well, changing rooms return to our TV screens this week after a 20-year absence. And it's not just Lawrence, Llewellyn-Bowen who loves to shift things around. Watford change their manager every 5 minutes, almost as regularly as Graham Potter changes his team. It has served both well, with the Hornets breezing to promotion last season under Xisco Munoz, and getting off to a winning start last weekend as well. Graham Potter's tinkering also paid dividends as Brighton came from behind to win at Burnley on day one, with one sub, Jakob Modder, coming off the bench to set up the equaliser, and the other, Alexis McAllister, bagging a late winner at Turf Moor. The Amex has also been given a facelift over the summer, with extra seats dotted around to increase capacity to around 32,000. It isn't full this evening, but as we've already alluded to, those that are here are guaranteed to make plenty of noise. Not too many new faces in the home dressing room as Brighton's frustrating search for new recruits continues to drag towards the transfer deadline. The departure of Ben White to Arsenal for a club record £50 million, and injuries to Tariq Lamptey and Dan Burn have also left them light defensively. Two changes today from the team that started at Turf Moor. Alexis McAllister and Adam Lallana come in. It's Sanchez in goal. And it could be a back three of Webster, Duffy and Dunk, with March and Gross as wing-backs, Basuma and Lallana in midfield. And then McAllister and Trossard supporting Mopé up front for Watford. Backman is the goalkeeper. Cathcart, Trusicon, Cabaselli and Messina in goal. Cleverly, Atibo and Louza on debut in midfield, with Ismaila Sarr so impressive against Aston Villa, and Ken Sema partnering Emmanuel Dennis up front. Well, we are just about ready for kick-off, and it will be Watford, all in red, attacking the goal away to our left-hand side, who get us off and underway here on game day on Talk Sport. The first whistle is a cue for the majority of players to take a knee. Warm applause from both the home supporters and the Watford contingent away to our right. We are off and underway, and Watford are giving it away very cheaply right from the off. Here's a chance for Trossard on the edge of the penalty area. He might get a shot away from inside the box here. He just took too many touches, forced himself wide, in the end rolled it out to Solly March, advancing down the left-hand side. His cross cleared away. That was a really clumsy pass from Peter Atibo. David Conley to put Watford on the back foot right from kick-off. Yeah, you're right. I mean, a really aggressive fast start here from Brighton. They didn't have possession, but Watford played it back and was straight onto it. Really good start. Trossard maybe could have pulled the trigger here. I think he was just waiting, chopping on the edge of the box. You think, go on, just let fly instead. Try to lay it out wide to Solly March, and I think the strike might have been a better option there. Brighton in their traditional home colours, those blue and white striped jerseys, blue shorts and white socks, as Shane Duffy back alongside Lewis Dunk at the heart of what has started actually as a back four, with Webster on the right, March on the left. And Duffy now playing his first home Premier League game for quite some time, having spent last season on loan at Celtic. Didn't look like he had a future, but Graham Potter says he is very much the Irishman, part of his plans for the season, and he's just helped the ball back to Robert Sanchez, the 6'6" Spaniard, all in black, away to our left-hand side in goal for Brighton. The Seagulls very confident in possession in the early exchanges here on Talk Sport. Alex Crook and David Conley, the former Republic of Ireland striker, calling the action. And here's Trossard down the right-hand side. And it's almost a 3 now when Brighton are in possession, and they revert to a 4, I think, when Watford have the ball. We'll keep an eye on that. But plenty of fluidity, as always, from Graham Potter. There was a fantastic piece from our colleague James Savundra on Game Day Live this morning, charting his unusual rise to become a Premier League manager. Started out managing a university team. Here is the German Pascal Gross down the right-hand side for the home side, who are absolutely dominant in possession in the opening 3 minutes here at the Amex. Gross again level with the penalty area, collects the pass from Webster, the tall former Portsmouth central defender. Gross calling Messina with a step over, crosses right-footed over the head of McAllister, who was lurking. Basuma tries to keep it alive, and it will come from March just on the edge of the area. Here's Mopé now, level with a 6-yard box on that left-hand side, rolls it back for Basuma, and he laces one high over the crossbar into the Watford fans. But this has been really impressive, David Connolly, from Brighton so far. Yeah, I mean, this is the pattern. We've seen this so many times, haven't we, here, Alex, at the Amex, in terms of Brighton dominating possession. Maybe Messina, I don't know, surely he must know Pascal Gross, because Gross loves a Cruyff turn. That is his go-to little bit of skill. Does him easily there, too easy for Messina, but it's a really good start. And again, Watford have given it away deep inside their own half. Webster gobbling up the yards, rolls it into the feet of Basuma, right in the centre of Watford territory, tried to find Trossard, cleared away by Cabaselli, and here come Watford on a rare foray forward, but they do have the pace to hit on the counter-attack. Just ask Aston Villa last week. Here's Seamer into the box, can he pick out a teammate in red, deflects over the crossbar, and from their first attack of the evening, Watford have the game's first corner. Yeah, that's right. Look, this is what they've done all last year in the Championship, sitting in really deep. They break the play up, then they counter up to Sarr, feeds it out wide to Ken Semer, and it's a decent strike, goes out for a corner, and that is the threat that they possess. I mean, Brighton could dominate the ball, but that's the benefit of the back three. If you look there, when they do counter Watford, they still, in the end, Brighton have 5 players back in their box. So I think the change of shape is just actually a nod. It's a sign of respect, really, for how good Watford are on the counter. They've got to have those players back. Cleverly to take the corner from this left-hand side as we look. Well, this is where Burnley looked so dangerous against Brighton last week. He's taking it short, though, cleverly. He's going to maybe get a chance to cross now, tease it up to the edge of the penalty area, and Loser instead dinks one towards that 18-yard box, headed away, and now it's Brighton on the counter as a loud roar goes up around the Amex. Stopped momentarily in the centre circle, but one back by McAllister, tries the 1-2 with Adam Lallana, and there were enough red shirts who got back there to alleviate the danger. And then it's given away again by Messina. He passed it straight to Basuma in the centre circle. That's about the third occasion that Watford have just gifted possession back to their host. Here's Lallana, the former Liverpool man. Plays it into the feet of Webster. Out to Pascal Gross on the Brighton right. Everybody bar Sanchez inside the Watford half of the field. This is Lallana again. Webster. They're shifting the ball really well here, Brighton, but at the moment Watford keeping their shape, and Brighton have forced all the way back to Duffy inside their own half. Yeah, they won't mind about that, Alex, in terms of retaining possession, just making Watford work. That's when they do turn it over, Watford. The likes of Messina, they've got to keep it. It's a really poor pass, that one, and now they probably won't see it for another couple of minutes. Well, saying that, commentator's curse, they've just played it straight out of play. Yeah, Lewis Dunk trying to pick out March over on the left-hand side, too heavy, and it's a throw-in for Watford, whose only Premier League win against Brighton was a home victory at Vicarage Road back in August of 2018. They've never won a top-flight match on Brighton soil. Looking to make it back-to-back wins at the start of this new Premier League season. The same, of course, can be said for Brighton, who've never started a top-flight campaign with maximum points from their first 2 matches. Just going back to that set piece, for Watford, I don't know why they didn't put it in the box. Surely, looking at last week Burnley, what a threat they were against Brighton. Just keep putting it in there. You saw Tarkowski had obviously scored one disallowed, and because of how Brighton mark with, the bigger players as zones and the smaller players picking up like Mopé, surely just put it into the 6-yard box. Instead, why they took it short, I don't know. Here's Webster looking to release Mopé down the centre. Right idea. He was in between the 2 centre-backs, Trusty-Kong and Cabaselli. Just skips agonisingly into the arms of Daniel Bachmann, the Austrian goalkeeper for Watford. Well, for a change, Brighton went route 1. Yeah, what they don't have, though, Alec, they don't have the pace that Watford have. We saw that just a moment ago with that counter-attack from that corner. The ball went up top to Mopé, Trossard. They didn't really have the lightning pace that Watford have. That's the difference. Even that ball there from Webster, slightly overhit, but maybe somewhere with an extra yard of pace might have got on the end of that. 7 minutes gone. Brighton 0, Watford 0. Here in the heart of the Sussex Downs, under grey skies overhead. I've had a sprinkling of rain, so the pitch is well moisturised. The ball is knocked back now to Bachmann. He goes long upfield with the Ken Seamer, the Swedish international, on this left touchline. Webster slides in to pick out Basuma on halfway. Good footwork from Basuma, but Messina gets there ahead of Pascal Gross and then chips it forward rather aimlessly.
Yeah, he gets there ahead of Gross, you're right, but then he's got to have real care on the ball. I mean, I think he's had possession about 3 or 4 times now, Messina, and every one of those occasions he's given the ball away. He's got to take more care.
It's already been a fascinating day, not just in the Premier League but the EFL as well. We started at a packed Anfield. Liverpool comfortable winners against Norwich by 2-0. Our 3 o'clock offering on TalkSport 2 was a humdinger. Finished Leeds 2, Everton 2. Fans back inside Ellen Road for the first time since promotion. Here's Lallana trying to find Mopé on the edge of the area, cleared up in the air by Trusty-Kong, and Duffy brings it down neatly. Here's Webster down the line for Gross, couldn't bring it under control immediately, and that allows Messina to slide in and knock the ball out for a Brighton throw. Manchester City today 5-0 winners against Norwich. Jack Grealish on his home debut among the goals. 0-0 between Crystal Palace and Brentford, and Aston Villa 2-0 victors over Newcastle, courtesy of a Danny Ings overhead kick. Looking forward to watching that one. Cross from March from the left-hand side for Brighton, and facing his own crossbar, Trusty-Kong has to head it behind for a corner.
Yeah, we've seen this as well. You know, obviously both wing-backs really high, almost playing as obviously right on that end line, right on the last man, and it's just dragging the 2 Watford wingers really deep. So if one wing-back crosses it, or Webster there breaks into the box, you know the other wing-back on the opposite side, that time Solly March, is going to pick it up. Good ball in, headed out for a corner.
Well, you mentioned that Brighton struggled to defend set pieces against Burnley. They're usually very capable of attacking them. Right, so Lewis Dunk, who's come forward, and Webster. Duffy's header off the underside of bar and in. Shane Duffy heads Brighton into the lead. The Amex erupts. It's his first Brighton goal since November of 2019. A thumping header off the underside of the bar, and with 10 minutes played, it's Brighton 1, Watford 0.
Oh, magnificent. Great moment for him, Duffy here. Brilliant ball in from Gross. Great pace on the ball. It's almost close to the penalty spot. He gets up really well. It's such a big team, Brian. I think he's up against Messina again. Heads it over the man on the near post. I think it's a Tebow. He doesn't move a muscle. He generates great power on this header. Right off the underside of the bar. There is no stopping that. Fantastic header.
Well, what a moment for Shane Duffy. Was told at the start of last season he was surplus to requirements, couldn't necessarily do what Graham Potter wanted his defenders to do. He's come back from Celtic, revitalised, and I think he enjoyed that moment. Duffy sliding to his knees, saluting the Brighton fans, and the team that struggled to win at home without their raucous supporters cheering them on have given those fans something to cling on to early in this game. Brighton 1, Watford 0, and you have to say it's no more than the Seagulls deserve.
Yeah, and as we were talking in the build-up, you know, I've seen Brighton so many times. If they could have finished all their chances, you know, they would have ended up with a good 25, 26 more points, and that's been proven in the stats. So they got an early goal here, which is huge for them.
And they've got a free kick to defend,
and they've had to rely on those defenders, haven't they? Go back to last season picking up goals for them.
Here comes the free kick. Loser puts it into the area. Trusty-Kong is up there. It'll be cleared away by Solly March, but only as far as Sarr, right corner of the penalty area. Hardly mentioned his name so far. Ismail Sarr, he's going to cross here. It deflects. I think maybe the goalkeeper Sanchez should have shouted for that. Duffy, having not had the shout, heads it out for a throw over on the far side.
Yeah, just take no chances there when you're in centre half. And look, the atmosphere is loud, it is noisy. It might be hard to hear Sanchez now as opposed to last season.
You mentioned the reliance on defenders for goals. Lewis Dunk is actually Brighton's 4th leading Premier League goal scorer, with 11 to his name. That probably is more of an illustration of how Glenn Murray apart, and maybe Mopé, their front players have really struggled to score goals at this level. 12 gone on TalkSport. Brighton 1, Watford 0. You're listening to Game Day Live and exclusive from the Amex. Alex Crook and David Conley, your commentary team. And it's been a super start for the home side as they look to make it 6 points from 6 at the start of this new season. Duffy, the goal scorer, with a towering header clear, this time from the edge of his own penalty area. But Watford are beginning, since falling behind, to see more of the ball. Messina back to Cabaselli, the Belgian international. Loser dropping very deep, plays it forward to Ismail Assar. And Loser brushed off it by Duffy, but it falls kindly for Sarr, who drills one right-footed from just inside the D on the edge of the area, always rising into those grateful Brighton fans behind the goal. But that was more positive from Watford and from Ismail Assar in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. Lovely little turn to go on the inside, little give and go, and maybe just got under that strike slightly, but he has got the power. By his standards, that's a disappointing finish. Again, though, it's a little warning, isn't it, to Brighton? They might not have had the ball that often, but they've looked a threat, Watford, when they've had it.
Here's Trossard. He too poses a threat down the right-hand side. Forced to go back into his own half there, having been closed down quickly by Sima. Here's Duffy, the man whose imperious header has given Brighton the lead. Plays it forward to Webster. Now Lallana, a yard or so inside Brighton territory. Webster down this right touchline for Trossard. Both managers camped on the edge of their respective technical areas. Graham Potter wearing a skin-tight black jumper, matching trousers. Miško Munoz in the long black jacket.
It looks like they went to the same shop. I mean, they've almost got identical clothes on, barring the blazer. That is the trend now. I think it's the pep look, isn't it, with the sort of black trainers with the white sole. Have you got them on? I think no.
Mine haven't got a white sole.
No, they're not quite in that category yet.
I did buy these especially for the Darren Bent Boot Room, which returns tomorrow on TalkSport, 5 o'clock until 8, reviewing all the weekend's action. As Webster arrows the ball out to the left-hand side, releasing Solly March. Pass to perfection. March is crossed into the area. Mopé was loitering, and it's turned behind in the end by Truce Decon for another Brighton corner. And Xisco Munoz will be hoping his side defend this one better than they did the first, when Duffy headed in almost unchallenged.
Yeah, well, you know, with Pascal Gross, obviously he's got such great delivery. We know that. It's the shape that's causing Watford problems. Obviously the wing backs, you know, keeping their whip so high for Brighton. That diagonal is on all day long.
Duffy's going to make the late run again. It's going to be the corner taken by Pascal Gross, right-footed from the left-hand side once more. Duffy just in conversation with Lewis Dunk around about the penalty spot. Mopé and McAllister lurking in front of Backman, the goalkeeper. Webster is inside the 6-yard box as well. Pascal Gross puts his right arm up to the sky. In-swinger this time, headed away by Truce Decon. And now maybe Watford can counter-attack with Sarr, stopped by Lewis Dunk. Still manages to find Loser, who pokes it through the legs of Lallana and rolls it down this left touchline to the fleet-footed Sarr again. Sarr against Webster, and there's Bissouma on the slide, stopping that Watford attack in its tracks and conceding a throw, and getting a standing ovation from the Brighton fans around us in the press box here in the main stand. Yeah, that's what he's there for, Bissouma, to break things up. But still, whenever Sarr gets it, I've got to say, he looks electric. Just took the ball away, just bounced Webster off him, and he needed Bissouma there to help him out. He was linked with Liverpool this week. Ismail Assar and Manchester United were sniffing around this time last year. I think Watford did pretty well to keep him in the Championship, and he played a major part in them coming straight back into the Premier League. 20 goals and 8 assists since he joined the Hornets. More goal involvements than any other Watford player. They have a throw in here, which Messina takes and finds Loser on the edge of the area. Good cross steered in towards Sarr and brought down on the edge of the box by Cleverley, but well won by Bissouma. And then Bissouma pokes it out this right-hand side, and Trossard. Only Mopé ahead of Trossard, so he just slows the game down, waits for Pascal Gross to burst forward on the overlap, but then tries to tee up Bissouma on the edge of the box, too close to Cleverley, and Sarr will run it clear once again. Another brilliant run by Sarr, away from Trossard, in fact, it's Seamer on this left-hand side, and this time he's been dispossessed by Webster. Really powerful burst from Ken Seamer. Well defended in the end, David Connolly.
Yeah, absolutely, but just going back to Brighton, it was a good counter, but again, with Trossard, they don't quite have the pace. Certainly not that Watford have on the break, so he had to slow things down, wait for Gross. He doesn't have the pace either, so Brighton are definitely a team that tries to play through you.
McAllister trying to do just that. 10 yards in Watford territory, finds Mopé down the right. His touch was a heavy one, and across comes Cabaselli, but Watford a bit slow to react to the second ball. Switch of play by Gross over to the left-hand side, and Solly March headed clear, this time by Cathcart, the Northern Irishman. And then finally, the clearance completed by Truce Deacon. But these Watford defenders are being made to work overtime. As David Connolly has already alluded to, Brighton not blessed for pace, but they certainly have plenty of guile and plenty of movement as well. And Watford know they're in a battle here this evening. 19 gone on TalkSport. Brighton 1, Watford 0. Xisco Munoz certainly the most animated of the two bosses down in front of us. Here's Duffy, the Brighton goal scorer, rolls it calmly to his right, and Webster. Adam Webster, who penned a new long-term contract in the summer. We're always going to sell one big player. That was part of the business plan, as I understand it. That player, Ben White, £50 million to Arsenal, should mean they are able to keep hold of Yves Bissouma. Here's March in acres of space on the left corner of the penalty area. Glides into the box, March. Shifts one way, then the other goes down. Appeal for a penalty. He's back on his feet now, March, and he's got the ball once more. VAR will be looking at that. The on-field referee, Anthony Taylor, unimpressed with the appeals. And here come Watford looking to counter again with Seamer, but he's off balance and he's given it away to Pascal Gross. Gross down the right for Brighton. Infield for the orange-booted Bissouma. Now Mopé, room to turn on the edge of the area. Tried to feed it through for Trossard, and again Watford defended it well enough and launched it long upfield, trying to use the pace of Emmanuel Dennis, and Sanchez, the goalkeeper, a long way off his line, a bit hesitant, in the end just clears into touch and out for a Watford throw. Yeah,
it's a good start position though from Sanchez, just sweeping up at the back in case that ball does get punted in behind. Just going back to Neal Mopé, a couple of times it's broken down, hasn't it, in and around the box. He's just got to take a bit more care on that ball, trying to find his teammates and link, but so far it hasn't quite worked for him.
Brighton leading by goal to nil. 20 minutes gone here on TalkSport on this Saturday tea time on the south coast. Watford looking for a way back down their right hand side with Ismaila Sarr. Solly March, who missed much of the second half of last season with a knee injury, clears it away. Watford have a throw pretty much level with the Brighton 18-yard line away to our left. Cathcart takes it short to Sarr, gives it back to the fullback, and then Cathcart's cross deflected away for another throw. That throw in taken quickly. Here's Messina, 10 yards outside the area, plays it out to the left, and Seamer. Webster again slides in. Seen a lot of slide tackles in these opening 21 minutes, David.
Yeah, absolutely. And just going back to that challenge in the box, on Solly March, I think maybe last season they might have looked at that, but this season I think they're going to let those things go. A little touch maybe on March, but pretty quickly he got back up, and I think that's a positive sign.
Messina just wiping the ball on his jersey. As I mentioned, it's been rather damp in Sussex this afternoon. Finds Seamer down by the corner flag. He's up against Webster and Gross, so plays it back to Messina, and now Cabaselli just inside the Brighton half away to the left. Padded forward by Truce Deacon, and he gets it back from the Nigerian Etibo. Here's Sarr now down the Watford right. Three red shirts in the centre, tries to dink it to Cleverley on the edge of the box, but it was behind the skipper and cleared upfield by Leandro Trossard, the Belgian, for Brighton. McAllister brings it down 10 yards inside his own half and plays it into the Watford half of the field, and Mopé. Trossard clipped from behind by Cleverley, and this is a free kick within shooting range. Clumsy from Tom Cleverley, because I'm not completely convinced that Trossard had the ball under control, but just to the left of centre, 7 or 8 yards outside the penalty area. Adam Lallana or Basuma, who's placed the ball down with intent, may just fancy going for goal from here.
Yeah, I just think Trossard knew the contact was coming from cleverly, and just going back to Watford, when the ball went wider, as Marley saw, obviously Brighton was sat in, so it wasn't on the counter, and he looked up in the box, and obviously there's that big bank of three huge centre-halves. You think, is it worth putting it in there? So he tried a little cute cut-back cross, but it was a poor one in the end, and a giveaway. But again, Brighton don't possess that pace to really hurt, and so they had to slow the attack down, wait for support. In the end, though, they've got the free kick. I'm surprised Basuma's on this. I mean, I've got to say, he started so well, Basuma, in terms of whenever they lose it, he's immediately right. Where is the likes of Sarr? Bang, I'm there, breaking things up. But I never really saw him on free kicks, got to be honest.
I think he's a terrific player, Basuma. I think he will go on and play for one of the biggest clubs in Europe. I think Brighton have probably resigned to that as well.
Well, with all the talent out on that pitch, I mean, the technicians, Basuma is one of them, but I never really saw him as one for free kicks. But
you just know he's going to smash it into the top corner now, don't you, Basuma? Long run up, doesn't score many goals. When he does, they tend to be of a spectacular variety. I think this would certainly fit into that bracket. I think he's almost going to try a Marcus Rashford style knuckleball. Little jog as he prepares to address it, hammers it into the wall. The referee has blown for a foul on the edge of the penalty area, and well, you say you don't see him as a free kick taker, David Connolly, and probably that will be exhibit A as to why it wasn't the best, was it?
Yeah, I mean, I have seen the centre-halves where it takes that full in the face at Thibaut. Yeah, I mean, that would hurt. Fingers crossed he's okay here. I mean, to be honest, it looked like it was going on target, although, albeit goalkeeper side. I have seen the likes of Dunk and Duffy and even Adam Webster have a go at free kicks, but never Basuma. And going back to Webster, I mean, he's signed his new deal. There's a piece on him on the big jumbo TV before the game, and even at Burnley last week. What I really like about Adam is that if it's, say, not on to go wide, he doesn't mind carrying the ball and bringing it forward into the box and making things happen. He was involved in one of the goals at Burnley, you know, carrying the ball into opposition half, and he's got that about him, real calmness and composure in possession. You can see why Graham Potter really loves him, and he's forged a terrific career for himself down here, you know, because at Portsmouth, but who knows, you wouldn't say even a few years he'd be a top Premier League centre-half. He had everything, but you just wonder, are those players going to get that chance? And got it at Bristol, and he's then made the next step, and he's absolutely taken to it like duck to water. He looks brilliant.
And Thibaut is sat up inside the D on the edge of the Watford penalty area. The medical team taking no chances. A lot of focus now on concussion injuries. He's just gingerly back on his feet and will continue to be assessed. It's currently Brighton 1, Watford 0 for the latest odds. Head to Betfair, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Brighton at 2-7, Watford 15-1 to come back and win this game. The draw is available at 5-1. That's all thanks to Betfair. More ways to bet, more ways to win. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org. And Thibaut has been cleared to continue, so Watford up to their full quota of 11. We've played 26 minutes. And at the moment, David Connolly, it's going very much the way of the home team.
Yeah, as we thought, in terms of Brighton dominate possession. I mean, the goalkeeper Backman's got to do more there. He's got a goal kick. He just booms it straight down the middle onto the header Dunk, who just heads it back to his goalkeeper, and Brighton have got the ball again. You know, if they are going to aim for someone, it's got to be out to Sarr. Has to be a little bit more accurate, or try and build and play their way through, but they're not really going to do that, Watford, so they're going to spend an awful lot of time without the ball here today, and when you're down already, it makes for a long afternoon.
Well, their away record in the Premier League is pretty poor of late. Lost their last 6, conceded 14 goals. They are behind again here. Here's Trossard maybe looking to double the damage. Crosses low into the area, steered away by Cavaselli. Gross with a cross-come shot that just whizzed past the frame of the goal. I think Batman was confident it was always going wide, but certainly Xisco Munoz looking very anxious down in front of us.
Again, it's a brilliant ball in behind, this time from Adam Webster. I mean, he takes his time, you know, he waits. He might be getting pressed, but he's waiting and waiting for the opportunity for the picture just to change ever so slightly, and it did. Messina came out of his slot a little bit. Trossard ran in behind, came short, ran in behind. It was a brilliant ball into the channel.
Cleared upfield by Messina for Watford, over the head of Emmanuel Dennis. It's cleared by Brighton towards the Hornets penalty area, away to our right. Thibaut just about pokes it back to Bachmann. Got a kick on the shin for his troubles, and then Bachmann clears it into touch for a Brighton throw. Right in front of the Watford dugout. It will be Pascal Gross who comes across and takes it for Brighton. Back to his own half and controlled on the chest by Duffy. And then Dunk rolls it out to the left-hand side, and Solly March. Watford content at the moment to allow Brighton just to keep possession inside their own half of the field. They'll want to get Emmanuel Dennis on the ball more.
Well, I think what they can afford to do, that Watford backline, is just be a bit more aggressive when the ball goes into feet, because they know Brighton aren't going to hurt them in behind. They've got to go and press that one early to feet.
Lazy jinking run from Trossard down the right-hand side for Brighton. Plays it to around about the centre of the Watford half, and Basuma, Duffy, pokes it out to the right-hand side, and Gross again. It's been a good outlet, Pascal Gross, and again threatened to shift onto his left foot, and the end plays it into the area with his right. 1-2 between Basuma and Trossard. Maybe just one ball too many. A smile on the face of Basuma as it trickles harmlessly behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, the only issue here is it was the obvious ball, the obvious 1-2, and that's the one you don't play, because obviously Messina just crowded Basuma out. I think it might have been better Trossard there, just set him. But again, good play. Wonderful little ball on the inside from Webster as well. Nice disguised pass.
16 minutes the first half remaining. Brighton leading by a goal to nil. As Messina drills it towards the far right-hand side of the home penalty area. Sarr picks it up a bit further back towards the halfway line and plays it to his right, and Cathcart with a cross into the centre. Imran Louza was jumping, but it's dealt with by the blue and white jerseys, and then Pascal Gross plays it long upfield, and Mopé can't quite keep it in play. Watford have a throw.
Well, that is where, when the ball's coming in from the right-hand side, Cathcart was delivering from one side, unlike Brighton where Gross might be delivering from the right and Solly March is picking up at the back post. That time for Watford, he got Cathcart crossing from the right, and Messina is far too deep. He's got to be almost on the edge of the box, picking that up. If he was there, Watford would have retained possession.
Here's Peter Atibo, seems to have shrugged off taking a whack in the face with that free kick from Basuma. The Nigerian midfielder on loan from Stoke City with an option to make a permanent transfer at the end of the season. Not often that you see a Championship club loan a player to one of their Premier League counterparts. Maybe a reflection of how creative teams are having to be, most of them anyway, given the after effects of the pandemic and the effect it's had on finances. Here is William Troost-Ekong over the halfway line for Watford. Cathcart forward in support in the green footwear over on the right touchline, and feeds it forward to Sarr. It's been a good battle between Solly March and Sarr, but considering he's a natural defender, I think Solly March is doing pretty well against Sarr so far.
Absolutely. I mean, look, they really missed him last season when he was out, a bit like Lamptey. I think Solly March, terrific player. Obviously he's played that wing-back role, full-back role as well, numerous times, so not a surprise that he shifted out to that left.
The floodlights just fizzing into action here at the Amex, a very modern arena. One stand, or one tier I should say, either side of the ground, two tiers on both touchlines as Gross crosses into the penalty area, bounces off a T-bone behind for a corner. You know what that means. Duffy and Duncan Webster summoned forward again.
Yeah, lovely little play there from Lallana, just breaking through the midfield, a couple of little 1-2s and give and goes. And this is where, if you look at Watford here, if it's the same setup, they normally have an extra man marking those big three. Whether Webster goes on the goalkeeper, this time he's not. He's hanging out with the other two, so it's a big three going for this. There might be a little block on here.
It's a corner from the right-hand side this time. Pascal Gross once again is standing over the ball. Again, that right arm goes up in the air to symbol where he's going to play it. This time it's headed clear by Troost-Ekong, not back into the danger zone by Lallana, and not really dealt with by the red shirts. Gross, first time, side foots it forward to Trossard, the pass behind Pascal Gross, and Watford now again should be able to run it clear. It's Ismail Assar on the left-hand side, hurdles a challenge from Trossard, but still runs the ball out of play, and Brighton have it back with a throw.
Yeah, pretty quickly though. As soon as he's got it, he's crowded out. It's not like I thought it might have been a foul there. Maybe could have gone down.
Diagonal ball swept out this right-hand side by Brighton. Messina heads it away with Gross lurking again. Pascal Gross takes the throw back towards the halfway line, and Webster very confident with the ball at his feet. The number 4 for Brighton, 5 yards in from this right touchline, plays it back to Duffy, the goal scorer. And again, Watford well organised with everybody in red back behind the ball as Basuma picks it up inside the centre circle. Again goes long for Mopé. Mopé maybe with a high foot there, will be a free kick. His foot was dangerously close to the head of Cathcart, and a free kick for Watford just on the edge of their penalty area. You are listening to Brighton against Watford on TalkSport with Now. Don't forget, with an Now Sports Day membership, you can watch Brighton against Watford live right now on Sky Sports for just £9.99 without a contract. Search Now Sports. We've got 11 minutes of the first half remaining. Watford, who had the best defensive record in the top 4 divisions of English football last season, have seen that defence breached already. Shane Duffy with a header from a corner on 10 minutes. And Robert Sanchez, the Spaniard goalkeeper for Brighton, hasn't really been tested by the visitors to this point. Here's Gross, forward to Trossard. Those two linking up well again on this right-hand side, and Trossard looks to have got the better of Cabaselli into the penalty area. Again, one pass too many from McAllister. The shot was on just inside the 18-yard box. He tried to roll it forward to Pascal Gross, who'd made the overlapping run, and it's behind for a goal kick. Sometimes, David Connolly, the spaces that Brighton are trying to play in are just too acute. Yeah, and they just need to be a bit more ruthless. You know, just take your shot, it's on. He had a little sort of radius of about 5 yards. No one really around him there. He could have just taken the shot on, tested the goalkeeper, just trying to, you know, play a little bit too perfect in and around the box. A couple of times now we've seen Trossard as well, who could have let fly. And it's another big week coming up of EFL Cup football. Tuesday night, 6 o'clock on TalkSport 2. Kick-off starts with Adrian Durham going around the grounds. That's followed by commentary of Huddersfield Everton. If you want to continue listening to the Around the Ground show, that will be on TalkSport from 7 on Wednesday night. Your choice of listening. 8 o'clock kick-off on TalkSport. West Bromwich Albion against Arsenal in the EFL Cup. At 7:45 on TalkSport 2, it's Huddersfield against Everton. And then game day returns next Saturday, including commentary from the Premier League, exclusive to national radio. Manchester City against Arsenal at 12:30. West Ham Palace is the 3 o'clock offering here on TalkSport 2, and at 5:30 Liverpool against Chelsea on TalkSport. 2 huge games there, City against Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, and a little London derby between West Ham and Palace sandwiched in between, plus 2 commentaries from the EFL as well. TalkSport and TalkSport 2, your home of live football this season. 36 minutes gone. Brighton 1, Watford 0 here on the south coast. Shane Duffy with the only goal, plays it forward to Lewis Dunk. Those two have a special bond on and off the pitch. 2 big pals, as well as being partners in crime at the heart of that Brighton defence. A partnership that was disrupted when Duffy headed for Celtic last season. Didn't really work out north of the border. He looks a bit leaner to me, David, but fitter maybe than he was.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Maybe that's why Graham Potter is willing to give him a second chance to prove he can play the way that he wants him to. And Potter applauding his team's efforts of pressing high there and winning the ball back. Here's Adam Lallana. Relatively quiet afternoon for the former England midfielder. As Basuma picks up possession 2 yards inside the Brighton half. Here is Webster now for the Seagulls. McAllister tried to knock it on for Trossard. Gross keeps it in play and hammers his clearance against Ken Seamer, and out for a Brighton throw. I don't think the travelling Watford fans behind the goal away to our right can complain too much about the scoreline so far. The chant of Graham Potter's Blue and White Army goes up around the home sections of the ground. Here's Duffy again. Lallana side flips it back to Duffy. The possession and passing stats heavily weighted towards the home team. Watford content just to sit and try and use their pacey attackers, the likes of Sarr and Seamer and Dennis, to try and hit on the counter-attack, as they did so successfully at home to Aston Villa. One of the rare occasions in recent seasons they've started a top-flight campaign with a victory. In fact, the last time they did that, back in 2018, they went on to win all 4 of their opening games. Under Marco Silva. Here's Trossard playing it forward to Maupay on the edge of the area. Maupay spotted the on-rushing McAllister, so did Messina, and he clears it left-footed out for a Brighton throw.
Yeah, it was unlucky. I mean, it was a nice little through ball, but Maupay, that was the kind of obvious pass to McAllister, and they read it well. I mean, Messina, when he's had the ball, has been pretty poor in possession, but he's closed those spaces really quickly.
Here's Webster, finds Gross down by the byline, crosses, blocked by Messina, out for another throw, not too far shy of the corner flag on this near side. Pascal Gross, who since arriving at Brighton has scored 15 goals, made 25 now, courtesy of that corner headed in by Duffy. It's his cross into the area once again that Watford have cleared, and here's cleverly looking to release Sarr down the left-hand side. He's been fouled, and it will be a free kick for Brighton. Webster just making sure that counter-attack stopped before it really got going.
Yeah, they've done that very well today. I mean, it's a clever little nutmegs here from Dennis through the legs of Webster, but he was making sure, Webbo, that no one got past him, and they've done that well, Brighton. They've closed the door really quickly for any sort of possible counter from Watford.
Must be a theme in the Watford dressing room. They've got, 5 players wearing the same bright yellow boots out there this evening. A few more of those, and maybe the groundsman at the Amex might not need the floodlights. Here is Troost-Ekong, midway inside the Watford half, as we tiptoe towards the break here on Talk Sport. Brighton 1, Watford 0. Duffy with a header, with 10 minutes played, and strong defensive play this time, forcing Dennis to run the ball out and behind for a goal kick.
Well, again, that comes back to this formation that Graham Potter is using here against Watford. It just means there's another player in that channel, that area that Watford like to hit, down their right hand side, and it's got to be a perfect pass, and they've just limited those spaces. And when we saw this in the Championship with the likes of Millwall, where they plugged it up so there was no real space in behind, but obviously Brighton, a different sort of team, dominating the ball, progressing up the pitch, but knowing that extra player at the back there in that part of the pitch just negates that threat somewhat of the counter.
Well, limiting Watford to few, even half chances so far this evening, Brighton, and that was the story for their opponents for the majority of last season. Only Manchester City and Chelsea, David Connolly, faced fewer shots on goal than the Seagulls, so yeah, that end of the pitch they've had pretty much spot on right since the start of last season. It's the other end really where they've had trouble converting the chances they create into goals, and that's why they found themselves at the end of the 38 game season very much in the bottom half.
Yeah, but that is why there's real hope and why people...
given away by Watford, and here's Maupay. Neil Maupay doubles the lead for Brighton. 2 goals in 2 games for the French striker, but it was a catastrophe at the back for Watford, gifting the ball to their opponents. Neil Maupay could hardly believe his luck as he was left virtually unmarked inside the Watford penalty area. He wrapped his right foot around it and hammered it down the centre of goal. It's a moment that Troost-Ekong will not remember fondly. Tried to play it into Connolly, cleverly in midfield, didn't reach him. Basuma winning it back, finding Maupay, and he thumped it beyond Backman to make it Brighton 2, Watford 0.
Yeah, really poor from them playing out, but it's Basuma. He's had a brilliant first 45, breaks the play up, takes it off the toe of cleverly, and then it's into Maupay. He's got real composure around the box, fakes to curl it in the far corner and just gives the eyes and then reverses it at the near. Wonderful finish from Neil Maupay. That's a big goal for him as well. Didn't get enough last season, but if you give him chances like that, He'll take them, make no mistake.
Well, Neil Maupay scored on his birthday against Watford, against Burnley, and that's a belated gift now from Watford. And you have to say, based on what we were literally just saying about Brighton's defensive stability, that could be a huge goal just before half-time.
I mean, look, in the build-up to Aid, we spoke about, their expected goals and all this. The data would tell you that their expected goals, the difference, the disparity, I mean, it was the biggest in all of Europe's top 5 leagues. What that tells you, they had everything bar the final finish. And if they did, they would have had something like 67 points. I mean, it's quite incredible, rather than the 41 that they did get. So, they are a work in motion, and they're getting there.
You are listening to Brighton against Watford on TalkSport with WeBuyAnyCar.com. Get a quote in 60 seconds at WeBuyAnyCar.com. Another firm challenge from Basuma to win the ball back deep inside his own half this time. I mean, it wasn't great from Watford. Bachmann bowling the ball out underarm to Truce Dekong. He was just looking to play it forward to Cleverley, but in fairness to Basuma, it was his pressuring, his desire and determination which really forced the error. And as he steered it on the slide into Maupay, there was only one thing in Maupay's mind, and well, he didn't think twice, did he, about just smashing that beyond Bachmann. That was a strike that David Connolly would have been proud of.
Well, yeah, I mean, ironically, the goal scorer, he's just gone down on his shoulder, and you just wonder maybe he's in a lot of pain here. Just clutching his shoulder. Fingers crossed he's going to be okay. But I agree. I mean, look, we spoke earlier about when Bachmann had it and he didn't want to play short, so he went long, kicked it straight onto Dunk, who headed back to his goalkeeper. And I said, well, if they're going to do that, that is food and drink. They need to hit Sarr or play their way through. But they tried to play their way through when they already had Neil Maupay standing on the goalkeeper. They had Basuma on the front foot going, go on then, you play that straight pass in midfield, I'm onto it. And when you're up against a holding midfield player like Basuma, you don't play a straight ball into the middle of the park when he's around. You go, I'm going to turn it down, I'm going to play it on a diagonal to someone else or play it out wide. You don't play a straight pass into the middle of the pitch. I mean, that's what you get. You'll concede a goal. He'll win it because he's so aggressive. He's on the front foot. And you can tell here he's really at it, Basuma. Every time the ball breaks, he's around, he's alert, he's alive. And he probably won't get an assist for that, but he should do.
He certainly should do. Just a correction, by the way, those EFL Cup games I was telling you about, Wednesday night on TalkSport 2. Newport against Southampton is our commentary game. Huddersfield against Everton Tuesday on TalkSport 2. Both of those 7:45 kickoffs.
And just going back to the goal, I mean, I mentioned it just after you struck it, but we can just see another angle. Maupay deliberately looks into the far corner, which is a sort of finish as a striker you love to do. Look into that far corner to see if you're going to curl it in there, but then wrap your foot around it and bend it out the near, and Bachmann went for it. And it was a really clever finish from Maupay. And for someone who hasn't maybe got the goals that he would have liked, it was a confident finish as well.
Well, only Glenn Murray has scored more goals in the Premier League for Brighton than Neil Maupay, but he's still some way behind.
What did he get? I think he got something like, 3 in 20 last year, maybe something like that. The figures weren't great, but
2 in 2 for this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the issue, Alex. You can't keep looking back, right? It's easy to do that. You've got to look forward, and they've started well here.
I think there's a stat as well that really shows his worth to the team, maybe more than the goals that he's scored. Brighton have won only 2 of the 17 matches that Neil Maupay hasn't started since his move from Brentford. So what he's lacking in goals, clearly he is making up for in other areas. 2-0 Brighton lead. We're into 2 added minutes at the end of the first half as a Brighton fan with a seagull on his hat just makes his way off for some refreshment, an inflatable seagull. You'd look good in one of those, David Connolly. He's also wearing a heart suit. Is it Valentine's Day? Black suit with red hearts all over him. You should definitely get one of those. We've got 30 seconds of stoppage time to play here at the Amex in the first half on TalkSport. Down by the right corner flag is Sarr for Watford. Big team talk coming up for Xisco Munoz. Watford had the dream reintroduction to the Premier League, but this first half has been a bit of a nightmare for them. Not just the 2 goals they've conceded, but they've really struggled to lay a glove on Brighton in their defensive third. And I wonder already if Xisco Munoz, the Spaniard, might be contemplating changes. There is the half-time whistle. The Amex Stadium back to a near-capacity crowd for the first time in 18 months, and those home supporters have been royally entertained in his first 45 minutes. Shane Duffy, with his first goal since November 2019 in Seagulls colours, opened the scoring in the 10th minute, a header from a Pascal Gross corner, and Neil Maupay, with 3 minutes of the half remaining after Bissouma had robbed Tom Cleverley on the edge of his penalty area, doubling that lead. A long way back for the Hornets in the second half. Brighton halfway to making it 2 wins from 2 at the start of a top-flight season for the first time in their history. Half-time here, it is Brighton 2, Watford 0. Yeah, it's going to be a change of pace, actually. Neil Maupay, having landed awkwardly on his shoulder after a challenge from Peter Etibo right at the end of the first half, has not re-emerged. Aaron Connolly, who was unavailable for Brighton's opening day win at Burnley, is on in place of the French striker, scorer of Brighton's second goal, Neil Maupay. And for Watford, as David Connolly has already articulated, Cucho Hernandez, who scored after only 53 seconds against Aston Villa last weekend, is replacing Imran Louza, aptly named maybe, with Watford 2-0 down. And in fact, David Connolly, had Isaac Success made the squad, Watford surely the first team in Premier League history to have a player named Success and a player named Loser in the same team sheet.
Well done, Alex. 10 out of 10 for that one. Brilliant.
It's Brighton leading by 2-0, who get us off and underway in the second half here on TalkSport. Blue and white striped shirts, blue shorts and white socks, shooting from right to left. Watford all in red, attacking the end of the ground where their travelling horde from Hertfordshire are gathered.
That was very cleverly, Alex.
Hey. How long can we keep this going for in the second half? With those changes, Brighton now with Sanchez in goal, Webster, Duffy and Dunk in defence, Gross and March the wing-backs, Bissouma and Lallana in the centre of midfield, with McAllister and Trossard now alongside Connolly in attack. Watford have Backman in goal, he's their number 1 this season, with Ben Foster on the bench, Cathcart, Trusticon, Cabaselli and Messina in defence, Cleverley, Atibo and Hernandez, who will bring a bit more attacking purpose to midfield. That will certainly be what Xisco Munoz will be hoping for. And then Sarr and Seema either side of Emmanuel Dennis up front. Here is Cleverley playing it back to Trusticon. Despite scoring 3 goals against Villa last week, the XG for Watford was only 0.9, and that tells me they were ruthless in that game with the opportunities that came their way. They haven't really created a chance, David, worthy of the name so far in the opening 47 minutes.
No, I guess they had this strike from Sarr that was always rising. I just wonder whether they changed shape as well in this second half, right, and just to keep Watford guessing. It looks like might be more of a traditional back 4 and a midfield 4 and the 2 up top, but you know, Potter likes to do things. Maybe that's a reaction, I don't know, to see how Watford are going to approach this second half.
Well, we're not the only ones who've been impressed with Bissouma this evening. Adrian Durham's cousin is watching from the stands. He says, I tell you what, Bissouma is a different level to everyone on the pitch. Never rated him as much as other Brighton fans, but he's playing out of his skin. Question would be, why didn't you rate him before? He's absolutely exceptional.
Yeah, you've got to kind of come to the game. This is, you know, when you come to the games and you watch them so often, you know, you get to have a real appreciation of some players, and they maybe go under the radar unless you watch them firsthand. You know, that's what's great, obviously, about, you know, in lockdown, being able to come to the games and appreciate these players like everyone else can now.
For me, he's a player that would walk into the Manchester United team, for example, and make them a lot better. They're crying out for that holding midfielder.
Well, Alex, there's plenty of teams that Man City would need a holding midfield player pretty soon. You know, Fernandinho's not going to go on forever, and there's plenty of others, you know, Liverpool as well.
They didn't need one today against Norwich. 5-0 winners earlier in the afternoon, Liverpool. It could be a chance for Emmanuel Dennis to stretch the Brighton defence. He's crossed it right-footed into the arms of Robert Sanchez, who dives over the top of the ball.
Well, that is the difference if they've changed their shape ever so slightly here, Brighton. Those gaps that weren't there in those inside channels in the first half are now just appearing. Obviously, good little ball into the channel, and maybe the cross was slightly too close to the goalkeeper.
Sanchez dinks it forward, but straight out of play for a Watford throw.
He picked out Munoz well there, though, didn't he?
Didn't quite fancy controlling it, though, did he? The Watford manager caught it in his hands and played it quickly to Cathcart to get the game restarted. We played 4 largely uneventful minutes in the second half. Brighton still leading Watford by 2-0 here on TalkSport. Don't forget, tomorrow the Sunday session returns 1 till 5. Sam Matterface and Perry Groves reviewing the weekend action in their own unique style. It's followed by the Darren Bent Boot Room at 5 o'clock. Some big games tomorrow as well. In comes the cross towards Ismail Assar. I think the presence of Dunk good enough just to knock Sarr off balance, and the end of ball loops harmlessly off his head and into the gloves of Sanchez, the goalkeeper.
It's probably Messina's best pass. Didn't have a great first 45, but nice little diagonal run from Sarr. But I guess with the height that Brighton possess at the back, it's always difficult to get one of those balls, those aerial balls in behind. And I think it's reverted to how they played against Burnley here. You know, Potter, in terms of going with this back four, it's just a little slight change of shape.
Why do you think that is when they're 2-0 up and seemingly in control?
I'm not quite sure why he would have changed it, unless he's just trying to, if Watford do have a bit more of the possession in this first 45, he can just sit off with 2 banks of 4 in the 2 up top.
We mentioned the changing faces of the Premier League. Graham Potter's face has changed this season. He's got quite a noticeable bushy blonde beard now down in front of us. You a fan of that? The extra facial hair, for the new season?
Yeah, I mean, the clean-cut image is gone, I guess, but maybe he's gone for the more rugged style. Seems to suit him, to be honest. I think he looks pretty dapper.
Brighton have certainly been rugged so far this afternoon. They lead by 2-0. Yet to really get going in this second half. We've played 6 minutes since the interval. Here is Basuma patrolling that midfield for the Seagulls. Duffy plays it down the right-hand side to Webster, who slides it forward to Trossard. And Webster's continued his run away from a Thibaut and out to the right-hand side. And Pascal Gross, and again Webster stays forward down by the right corner flag now. In the end, he's dispossessed by Messina, and Watford will clear it to their substitute, Hernandez with a switch of play towards Sarr, who probably had the beating of Lewis Dunk for pace and had the beating of a lot of defenders for pace, but Dunk, to his credit, stood tall and side puts it back to Sanchez. They are stretching this Brighton defence, Watford, already more than they did probably for the entire first half of the game.
Yeah, well, you could see as Adam Webster just progressed into the Watford half there. I mean, Graham Potter was sort of waving his hands to say, you know, make sure we got enough cover. If Webster goes, you've got enough players back, and in the end, Dunk just gave himself enough yards there, because you need him up against Sarr. He will make the ground up.
Here's Basuma, midway inside the Watford half. Forward it goes to McAllister. Acres of space to run into. McAllister makes his way towards the penalty area, slides it out to the right. Gross with a cross, could come for Connolly. Oh, how's he missed that? 7 yards out, left-footed, lifts it high over the crossbar. Aaron Connolly should really have put the game beyond doubt.
Yeah, it's a great move. It all starts with Basuma, though. What a brilliant turn here in the middle of the park, and then gives it to Trossard. Then he breaks and they counter so quickly. In the end, it falls at the feet of Connolly. I think it's more of an instinctive reaction sort of finish here on his left peg, which is his weaker side. But we did see this last season. He had a lot of chances from close to goal, and he didn't take them. I remember the one against Sheffield United, and it was only a couple of yards out, and that one was pretty similar on his left peg. Instinctive, but the ball's always rising. Disappointing. But he's one of those players, you know, Alex, he just hasn't enough football. He really hasn't.
Well, if Watford do come back into this game and salvage a point, we could be looking at that miss by Connolly as a huge moment. Here is Trossard, though. Connolly again available ahead of him. Plays it out to his left-hand side, and the Argentine McAllister gets it back from March, and he slides it through. Trossard trying to cut it back from the corner of the 6-yard box. Well defended by Truce Dekong. Will be a corner in front of those vocal Brighton fans behind the goal away to our left. And again, the big men, the likes of Duffy, who scored once already, Duncan Webster, will come forward. Brighton looking for a third here on Talk Sport. 2-0 to the good against Watford, and we've played 9 minutes in the second half. What can they do from this set-piece situation? The goalkeeper Backman bouncing on his line. Duffy and Webster planning again for late runs. It was aimed in towards Duffy. Couldn't quite glance it goalwards. Here's Gross again down by the left corner flag. Checks back onto his right foot, crosses deep to the far post and punched away by Backman. Under pressure from Duffy and Webster. Good goalkeeping from the Austrian. And here come Watford on the counter-attack with Hernandez. Really good piece of defending by McAllister, just as Watford were looking to try and hit their hosts on the counter.
Yeah, they've closed the door so well, obviously worked on that. You know, when the ball turns over, getting players back as quickly as they can, snuffing out any danger, and as good as they've been with the ball, without it, they've been excellent as well, Brighton.
Lots of noise being generated from those home supporters once again inside the Amex. It's been a carnival atmosphere, and certainly those fans appreciating what they've seen so far with 55 minutes play. Brighton coming forward again. Trossard full of tricks, trying to release Connolly, intercepted by Cabaselli, and he clears upfield. Bounces off the head of Emmanuel Dennis, and Cathcart brings it down 10 yards inside the Watford half, rolls it out to the right, and here is Dennis, the Nigerian, into the feet of Ismail Assar, but Lewis Dunk sliding in, wins the ball back robustly for Brighton. And then Sanchez, right-footed, sweeps it high into the Sussex sky and over the halfway line. Great piece of control by Connolly, chests it down and manages to lay it off as well to McAllister. Trossard now being urged to shoot by the Brighton fans, responds. His shot hits Cabaselli and loops out to the right-hand side. Now McAllister into the penalty area, tried to cut it back for Connolly, well dealt with again by the red shirts, but they can't get out at the moment. Watford, Lallana with the ball round the corner, out to that right-hand side, and Gross. Trossard, room to turn on the edge of the area, shoots left-footed. High and wide, never close really to testing Backman in goal.
Yeah, I mean, disappointing. It is a disappointing finish here from Trossard, and when he looked up, again though for Brighton, did they have enough players in the box? A lot of players ringing the outside, looking for that perfect finish from distance. Another strike that was always rising.
What about this noise now? Being led by the fans, most of them on their feet behind that goal away to our left. They are living the moment here. You're listening to Brighton against Watford on Talk Sport with Now. Don't forget, with a Now Sports Day membership, you can watch Southampton against Manchester United and Arsenal versus Chelsea live tomorrow on Sky Sports for just £9.99 without a contract. Search Now Sports. I'll tell you what, David, Graham Potter will be happy the fans are back. He told me that in no uncertain terms towards the end of last season. They conceded a late equaliser against West Ham, and when I spoke to him after the game, he said, I can't wait for the supporters to return so I don't have to listen to your commentary. We are right behind the Brighton bench, and when there were no fans inside the Amex, they could hear every word we were saying.
I remember that, and it was Ben Rama, wasn't it, who came off the bench with a brilliant finish late on, and that was a game they completely dominated, but I don't think they got the next goal, and that was key. They've got it here. That's a nice little cushion for them.
I enjoyed that Ben Rama goal. Graham Potter didn't. But I guess that result, West Ham coming from behind to snatch a point they probably didn't deserve, maybe as a warning sign for today. Brighton will feel possibly they need a third goal, and they're coming for it here. Trossard with a good-looking run on the edge of the area. Lallana cuts it back behind Connolly. I think he was trying to leave it for McAllister, but that just allows Cabaselli to clear it away for Watford. 58 gone, Brighton 2, Watford 0 here on Talk Sport.
Yeah, he should have just controlled it there, young Aaron. Get hold of it, do the simple thing well.
I'm going to go all the way back here to Sanchez. Only Ederson and Edouard Mendy have kept more clean sheets than Robert Sanchez since the turn of the year. Again, a reflection of how stubborn Brighton are defensively. They've been pretty ruthless today as well with the chances that have come their way. March with a long ball over the top, looking for Connolly, who He's small in stature, bit of a mismatch really between the two Watford central defenders and the Brighton striker, and Troost-Ekong and Kabasele come away with the ball.
Well, when they do that, Alex, in terms of going back to front from their centre halves up to Connolly, he's completely isolated, so they're much better just trying to play through Watford and not going to retain balls like that. And at times, one criticism I guess for Brighton's players as well, do they get enough players into the box? You know, they're not blessed with pace, so it's hard when they do progress to get numbers and players in there.
What a weekend we've got for you next Saturday on game day across the TalkSport network, 12:30 here on TalkSport. Manchester City against Arsenal in the Premier League, live and exclusive to national radio. At the same time on TalkSport 2, it's the Brian Clough derby against Nottingham Forest. At 2:30, Adrian Durham will be going around the grounds on TalkSport. At the same time on TalkSport 2, West Ham take on Palace as Dennis comes forward down the right for Watford, but again Brighton defend the danger. And at 5:30 next Saturday, live and exclusive to national radio here on TalkSport, Liverpool against Chelsea. What a game that is early in the season. At 8 o'clock on TalkSport 2, we'll have Peterborough against informed West Bromwich Albion in the Championship. Big games coming thick and fast before that first international break looming on the horizon that always disrupts things somewhat. Here is Solly March trying to clear it away. Bounces off cleverly and then back off March for a Watford throw down by the right corner flag. With an hour gone, Watford looking for a goal to get themselves back into the game. Sanchez still hasn't really had a save to make. Seamer toe pokes it back out to Cathcart. Seamer down by the right corner flag once more. Onto his left foot, dealt with by March, cleverly there ahead of Leandro Trossard, and then plays it back into his own half away to our left, and William Troost-Ekong. And then Connolly winning it back high up the field for Brighton. Dispossessing Atibo's down on the heat. Connolly didn't have too many blue and white shirts flooding forward for support in the end. I think he's been given a free kick, has he?
It looks like it. I think he's had a Webster with the foot in though, and he's had a really good game. It's been excellent. Doesn't matter where he plays. I know he played right back against Burnley, but he can play anywhere in that back line, in a flat 4 or a 3. Here is Leandro Trossard down by the right corner flag for Brighton, plays it against Messina, and the Seagulls have their 5th corner of the evening. Score from the first of them, Shane Duffy with a header on 10 minutes to break the deadlock. Neil Maupay, who's since gone off injured, doubling that lead 3 minutes before half-time, making it 2 goals in as many games for the French frontman. Here comes the corner, right-hand side for Brighton. Again, the giants have been sent up from the centre of defence. Duffy crouching down, almost to make himself look a bit smaller to that Watford back line. It's towards Webster. Duffy up there again. He's attacking every ball like his life depends on it. It's cleared away. And then Solly March, maybe a bit overzealous in the challenge with Hernandez. The ball is out for what will be a throw-in for Watford. I think if it hadn't gone out, then maybe Anthony Taylor would have given a free kick. And imagine how much better Brighton will be when the likes of Tariq Lamptey are back in the team as well. You know, he was obviously outstanding for them before his hamstring injury.
Yeah, it's taken him a bit longer than maybe they hoped and expected to get back from that injury. Dan Burn also sidelined for the next 6 weeks or so, and Danny Welbeck not fit to start the season, former Watford player. They will want to make 1 or 2 signings between now and deadline day as well. They've had a couple of bids rejected, as I understand it, for Darwin Núñez, Uruguayan striker who plays for Benfica, and Mark Cucurella, a left back from Getafe, was left out by the Spanish club for their game in the Liga today, so maybe some movement there for Brighton. 63 gone, as the home fans whip up the atmosphere again. Brighton lead by 2-0.
Well, let me tell you, Adam Webster's a lucky boy, so he did a little pull back there, and he was lucky not to get booked for that. It should have been.
Here's Cleverly, left-footed shot down to the corner, well saved by Sanchez. It was an awkward one for the goalkeeper. I think it bobbed up in front of him. The neat back heel from Seamer initially to tee up Cleverly, and well, the first time he's really been called upon, and Sanchez is equal to the task.
Yeah, it's not for the first time Watford have got in down this right-hand channel. Nice little clever ball into Tom Cleverly. Good strike. I mean, he didn't really have the power, I don't think, to trouble Sanchez, but it was an awkward bounce right in front of him. He just seemed to run off Basuma there. First time really Basuma hasn't gone with his man.
Currently Brighton 2, Watford 0. For the latest odds, head to Betfair as Brighton give it away. Nothing comes of it for Watford though. For the latest odds, head to Betfair, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Brighton at 1-20, Watford 99-1 to stage an improbable comeback, and 25-1 the draw. That's all thanks to Betfair. Betfair, more ways to bet, more ways to win. 18+, begambleaware.org. It would be some comeback now, David, wouldn't it, in the final 26 minutes plus added time that remain?
Yeah, you're right, but they have shown a good response here, Watford. They've looked much more of a threat in this second half.
Brighton still look lively every time they come forward as well, as they are now. McAllister with a back heel to Solly March down by the left corner flag. Tricking his way beyond Cathcart, and the shot from the edge of the area fired in by McAllister. Couldn't get past a sea of red, and then Duffy, I think, will be booked here, having gone in over the top trying to stop a counter-attack. Dennis is down in some pain inside the centre circle, and it will be the first yellow card of the evening.
Yeah, well, in that first 45 we spoke about how brilliantly Brighton just stopped Watford countering, but that was without making fouls. This second half they've just been a yard off. They've made a couple now. That is a clear yellow, and rightly so for Duffy, but I think Anna Webster should have had one just a couple of moments ago as well, so they can count themselves lucky they haven't been booked twice here, Brighton.
Here comes Josh King, ready to make his Watford debut, and it's a positive move from Xisco Munoz. Craig Cathcart making way, so maybe a change of system here. Josh King, who's been stuck on 48 Premier League goals for some time now, none of his last 23 appearances for Bournemouth and for Everton, where he had a pretty fruitless spell in the second half of last season. Sarr with a cross in, headed away by Duffy. Brighton pouring forward now on the counter. McAllister just inside the Watford half of the field, checks back into his own half and finds Lewis Dunk, the captain.
It's another counter though, Alex, that actually they just turn down, because they don't possess that sort of blistering pace that other sides do, and they have retained the ball, and I know they're 2-0 up, but I think that might be the next evolution of this team, this Brighton team, is to get more pace into them. They've got a lot of technicians, but not really that real burst of speed.
There's a definite change of system. Ismail Sarr is looking a bit confused. At the moment he's playing as a right wing back, Seamer on the left, a back three of Truce Deacon, Cabaselli and Messina. Josh King is certainly furthest forward now. I'm not sure that Sarr particularly wants to play as a wing back. He gets there ahead of Solly March as Basuma tried the diagonal crossfield ball, and then March wins it back after Conley forced a mistake from Truce Deacon. Poor touch from Trossard, and that allows Truce Deacon to volley the ball clear right-footed. And then a strong challenge by Josh King, but a fair one to dispossess Duffy. And here is a chance, he's offside actually, to Manuel Dennis, who side foots home, but the offside flag had already gone up. VAR will take a second look, but it looks a pretty clear-cut decision, David.
Yeah, he finishes this brilliantly, lovely little check inside, but he's looking at, there's no reason why he should be offside here. Lovely hold-up play, but he's looking along the line. He's got to take his line off the player he can see.
Very close on the replay.
It is close.
But he is off.
I think it's tight, it's marginal, but there's no excuse. He's just got to hold his run, and he's away. I tell you what, he ducked in field absolutely brilliantly. I think it was Dunk that might have dived in, and then he finished it superbly. Nice composure, but all for nothing because he just didn't keep himself onside.
And the decision has been upheld at Stockley Park, so it's still 2-0 to Brighton here on TalkSport. And this is Alexis McAllister. Little chip ball into the area, looking for Trossard. Well dealt with again by Cabaselli. And here's Sarr, operating now as that right wing back for Watford, driving forward over the halfway line. Still a quarter of the game to go. If Watford were to score, this place would suddenly get a whole lot nervier. And here's the tall Messina, just on halfway, back to Cabaselli, and now Truce Deacon. Graham Potter really for the first time this afternoon looking a bit pensive down on the touchline. As again the cross is played in by Dennis, but straight into the arms of Sanchez. Not quite been his afternoon, has it, Emmanuel Dennis, the fourth Nigerian to score on his Premier League debut with that goal last weekend. Can you name the other three, David Connolly?
No.
Could have tried.
The listeners don't want to hear me umming and ahhing. Come on, just hit me with it.
John Utaka, Peter Odinwingie and Odi Inagala.
Yeah, exactly. Would have been here too.
You could have guessed at Carney. You'd have guessed wrong, but you could have guessed at Carney.
Yeah. And I think Dennis, look, he's got to do a bit more work into the channels now, and he might be delivering balls into the box. But I think when he's had the ball, I think he's doing bright.
Some action on the Brighton bench. Mwepu is preparing to come on, just to stiffen up in midfield. Here is Sarr holding off the attentions of McAllister. Dennis looks to give it back to Sarr on the right corner of the 18-yard box. And Sarr does well under some pressure from 2 or 3 Brighton defenders to keep the ball. Into Josh King, lays it off on the edge of the area to Hernandez. Decent effort from Hernandez. Flicked it up right-footed, just trying to lift it over Sanchez. It was just over the crossbar as well, but it was fabulous technique.
Yeah, it was unlucky. Nice little skill just to pop the ball up, and Ismaili Sarr retains the ball well in tight little spaces, and they are going for it. Fair play to Munoz. He's gone for it, gone for broke, put 4 up top. They just need the ball.
Here's Webster bulldozing his way forward for Brighton, playing in Connolly, who's got the pace to get there ahead of Truce Deacon. Needs some support in the centre. Connolly got it belatedly with McAllister. His pass was behind the Argentine, and here's Messina to clear it downfield now for Watford, looking for Hernandez. Strong challenge in the air from Duffy, and Brighton have it back again as Mwepu gets his final instructions from Graham Potter. Here's Basuma tricking his way into the penalty area, trying to cut the cross back. Claims of handball. Shot in the end from McAllister against Atibo, and away by Watford. And then a foul to bring down McAllister. It was Emmanuel Dennis who's then played the ball against McAllister as he's on the ground. Brighton not happy with that. Dennis protesting his innocence to Solly March, but that looked a bit cynical, David.
Yeah, and it's a very open game now, and I think Graham Potter is obviously going to make a change here just to try and tighten things up. It's a little bit too loose, the spaces are too big, and I think for Watford, if they can get that first ball out, going back to Messina, I think it's been really poor in possession. Get that first ball out into the front low, because that Brighton backline is so big. Get it low along the floor, then they could cause Brighton a few more problems.
Well, a warm ovation for Leandro Trossard as he takes his early exit from this game, and coming on for his Amex debut is Enoch Mwepu, the Zambian, a £10 million buy from Salzburg. They call him the computer. All the numbers add up for Brighton in the final 18 minutes. Brighton 2, Watford 0. But it's been a much better performance from Watford in the second half.
Why is he called the computer? Do you know? Or
I knew you'd ask me that.
Is he good with numbers, or I don't know? Is he? Come on, find out for me.
Here's Sarr trying to get in behind. Solly March there ahead of him. I think there's an interview in the programme actually with Mwepu. Maybe it will answer that question. You're just trying to get me back for the Nigerian poser, aren't you? I know they're very excited about Mwepu, probably a long-term successor to Basuma when he does depart for pastures new. But Basuma very much a part of this victory this afternoon. It's because of his football intelligence, David Connolly. What was your nickname?
Angry Ant. Not quite the stain.
17 minutes to play here on TalkSport, the end of what's been another fabulous day on game day. Liverpool 2-0 winners against Norwich, back in front of a capacity home crowd at Anfield earlier this afternoon. That got us off and underway on TalkSport 2. I thought you were a cracking game between Leeds and Everton as Brighton come forward into the area. Connolly dispossessed. It falls kindly for Basuma 2 yards outside the box. And Watford can't clear their lines at the moment as Ismail Assar just runs across March and buys himself a free kick and a chance to relieve the pressure.
It's another cynical foul though, isn't it, from Brighton? I mean, Solly March knows exactly what he's doing here, just taking out Sarr and just stops the attack. But how many times is Pascal Gross going to do a Cruyff turn and Watford is still going to fall for it? I mean, you know, they must see the clips of Gross. That is his favoured little move, and he does it well, I've got to be honest, but every time the likes of Messina have bought it.
Is that why Messina isn't nicknamed the computer, you think? Maybe a lack of football intelligence. Here's Sarr. Hasn't been able to make his mark as he did on the opening day, and his ball through to Dennis is acrobatically cleared away by March. Cleverly wrestles it back from Mwepu, and here it is out on the left hand side now, and Seamer with a cross deep towards the far post. Not a bad ball in, great defending by Dunn. He was off balance facing his own goal with Dennis lurking, and he somehow manages to Superman chest it back to the goalkeeper Sanchez. That is superb from Lewis Dunn.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think he had Sarr lurking, or Dennis lurking behind him. Excellent awareness. You don't want that one sort of bouncing off your pec, do you? Going past the keeper.
Leeds 2, Everton 2 was how it finished on TalkSport 2. Aston Villa 2, Newcastle 0. A brilliant overhead kick from Danny Ings setting Villa on their way in that game. And Manchester City beat Norwich by 5 goals to 0. Jack Grealish scoring on his home debut. Britain's first £100 million footballer off and running in the sky blue of Manchester City. Brighton 15 minutes away from making it a perfect start to their season. 2 wins from 2, barring a late Watford fight back. They lead by 2 goals to 0.
Well, TalkSport's Troy Deeney, he's got the shout. Might be coming on, I think.
It looks like that changes in the offing.
Another forward on the pitch.
Troy Deeney, I noticed, was sporting a beanie hat in the warm-up. Don't think it was a TalkSport branded one.
Well, he hasn't exactly rushed, you know, from warming up to get stripped, has he, Troy? So
I'm not sure he does much in a hurry these days, Troy Deeney.
Yeah.
His experience will be invaluable over the course of the season.
Yeah, I'm sure he's probably disappointed he's not on sooner.
Here's Seamer down the left-hand side, trying to cut the cross back into the area. Basuma reads it well. And then it's dinked forward by Lallana. He's been quietly effective, Adam Lallana, without really doing anything to influence affairs, David, in the final third.
No, I mean, he was talking in the local paper about, you know, now he's fit and he's fresh, and Potter's methods are going to give him more, you know, give him longevity. You know, he likes to give players time off and tailor programmes for him, and he's just got about his business, you know, pretty quietly in there, kept it simple. He just needs, you know, volume of games, doesn't he? Stay fit and just keep playing, get the rhythm again.
Troy Deeney with that number 9 on the back of his jersey, just getting his final instructions before coming on next time there's a stop in play. Here's Josh King inside the Brighton penalty area. Neat turn from him.
He's looked bright, hasn't he?
He has. Here's Hernandez into the box. Hernandez trying to cut it back. Oh, he's just behind Cleverly. Would have been a tap in had the ball been inches in front of Cleverly rather than inches behind. Brighton clear it as far as Seamer over on that left hand side. Here's Hernandez trying to glide it through for Cleverly, blocked by Lallana. Messina with a deep one this time to the far post, and will be brought down by Ismail Assar. Sarr with a cross too close to Sanchez, who plucks it calmly from the evening sky.
Yeah, that's not really his strength, Sarr, when he's out wide delivering balls into the box from deep positions. He's got to get into the break into the box. Takes Solly March on, but he looks a little bit spent, Sarr, doesn't he? He's done a lot of work, and whether it's a winger or a wing back. But going back to the subs that have come on, I know Troy's probably disappointed he's not on sooner, but Hernandez has looked really bright, so has Josh King. So they've had an impact, the changes that Munoz has made.
And here comes Troy Deeney. We'll get a warm reception from those Watford fans away to our right. And it's Ken Seamer who makes his way. Not such a warm reception for TalkSport's Troy Deeney from the Brighton supporters. Only Luther Bissett and John Barnes have scored more top-flight goals than the 47 that Deeney has plundered for Watford. 33 years of age now. He's also, would you believe, had 14 different managers in his time at Vicarage Road. That must be some kind of record, I would imagine. Jakub Moder is also being readied by Graham Potter, having made quite the impact at Turf Moor last week. The Polish international, meanwhile, Brighton have a corner. Adam Webster, furthest man forward, winning that corner with a cross that was deflected behind. He has covered every blade of grass this evening.
Yeah, he's done brilliantly, raiding up and down that right-hand side. And that's what, I guess, if you play with a three at the back, you know, you've got licence, and he's the one out of that three that will venture forward. He's got the ability, the quality on the ball.
Corner from the right-hand side, corner number 6 for Brighton, who lead by 2-0 here on TalkSport. Deep one towards Duffy again. Duffy attacks it, and he's headed off the line this time by Cleverley. Brilliant header again by Duffy, and this time Cleverley in the right place to clear it away. Here's Gross, though, trying to make space for a shot. Left-footed, blocked by the goalkeeper, lifted all the way across the line by McAllister. How did that stay out? Good save initially by Backman, and McAllister following up. Just couldn't squeeze it in from a tight angle.
Yeah, it was really a cute angle. Tried a little clever dink over the goalkeeper. Maybe, it looked like he was almost in line with a post, McAllister, but that was unlucky.
Here's Deeney for Watford, forward to Hernandez. 11 minutes to go. Can the Hornets make a fist of it here in the closing stages? Crossed by King into the area. Stooping header away by Lewis Dunk, the Brighton captain. He's going to come straight back in again, though. Over Dunk this time, and a glancing header wide. Troy Deeney. What an impact that would have been.
I think he might have just eased out Lewis Dunk here, maybe put his arm across him. I think it would have been given as a free kick anyway. Yeah, slight push in the back.
Well, here comes Jakob Modder for Brighton, replacing Adam Lallana. And again, the Brighton fans paying homage to Lallana as he makes his way off. Jakob Modder made a goal within a minute of coming on at Burnley to spark that dramatic turnaround last weekend. I think he's going to be instructed by Graham Potter just to try and keep it tight on this occasion. Brighton with that 2-0 lead to protect, and at the moment Watford's miserable run away from home in the Premier League will continue. Only 2 wins in 19 games on the road leading up to relegation to the Championship, and time running out for the team from Hertfordshire to salvage something from this one. Foul by Solly March, though. Clumsy challenge on the halfway line, upending Dennis. Sarah's taking the free kick quickly.
Well, no chances there from Brighton playing out. Sanchez just with a long ball looking for Modder. Obviously with Watford's front 4 just looking to hunt the ball up high. No chances from Brighton.
Sitting very deep here, though, the Seagulls. Graham Potter, all in black, still trying to orchestrate proceedings. Bit of blue sky overhead for the first time this afternoon. It's been a pretty dreary day.
Well, they've got a challenge, you know, to score in Watford, because if you look back at last season, I mean, their goals against were pretty low, Brighton. You'll probably know the stats, but they're up there with, you know, the top teams. So they're going to be a hard side to break down.
And apart from that one save down low to his left, Sanchez has not really been called into action. Deeney with a header wide, but I think you're right, had it have gone in, it may well have been ruled out for a foul anyway. Well, I'm sure that Xisco Munoz knew that the Premier League was going to be an unforgiving beast. His record since coming in is sparkling. 19 wins from 27 league games in charge of Watford. Hasn't been beaten very often. Sarr with the ball into the area. The goalkeeper goes down, Sanchez, but no foul according to Anthony Taylor.
Well, there's Basuma, though, again, just in the right place at the right time, just to sweep it up.
Here's the long-legged Sarr, sliding tackle from Solly March, dispossesses him and concedes a throw. I think he's refereed it really well, Anthony Taylor. He's a referee who came out of the European Championships with an awful lot of credit for the way that he quickly handled that Christian Eriksen situation. He's let this game flow this evening. Seamer with a deep ball into the Brighton area, headed down by Deeney to Dennis, who sweeps it forward right-footed. Brave block by Duffy, and the computer Mwepu brings it clear, but they can't keep the ball for very long, Brighton. It's been the story of this second half. Much improved Watford after the break, but really the damage was done in that first 45 minutes when they were 2-0 down. Here's Messina switching the play out to the right hand side. March read it all the way and heads it clear. Sarr picks it up on the touchline, back to the halfway mark, and Troost-Ekong forward too cleverly. And now Atibo just on the edge of the centre circle, sprays it out to the left-hand side, and Messina, 84 gone, Brighton 2, Watford 0. And that guy in the Valentine suit we were talking about at half-time is on his feet trying to orchestrate the singing in the stands here. And a vibrant atmosphere throughout the afternoon into the evening. Here's Cleverley, rolls the ball into the feet of Ismaila Sarr, looking for Deeney to turn inside the area, but the ball bounces harmlessly off Troy Deeney and behind for a goal kick.
It's unlucky because actually since he's come on, Troy, his movement's been really good. Just pulled off the back of Dunk a couple of times, and he's offered that threat. You know, he's obviously physical, he can take the ball in, and he'll out-muscle people, which they haven't really had down through the middle anyway. I mean, Dennis is agile, he's nimble, he's quick, but physically against that big Brighton back line, he was just sort of out-muscle. But now with Troy there, you know, he's able to give it and take it.
29,485 just announced on the big TV screen and over the PA system here at the Amex, so 3,000 or so seats short of the increased 32,000 capacity. Watford not quite filling out their away attendance. Here's Sarr towards the area, cleverly with a shot, great block again by Duffy. Webster in there as well. It was a combination of the two, I think, as the cross is fizzed in by Dennis. It wasn't a bad ball, just nobody in red managed to get on the end of it. It's behind for a goal kick.
Well, it's like Adam Webster gets a little high five here. Sarr just drives on the inside, eventually falls at the feet of Cleverley. Good first touch, and I think he's gone with his instep here. He's a fair way out, but again, it's a good block from Webster.
Very popular man of the match has just been announced. Shane Duffy, scorer of the first goal on 10 minutes, a towering header from a gross corner, really providing the benchmark for what should be now Brighton's second win of the season in as many league matches. Neil Maupay doubling that advantage 3 minutes before half-time. And we will get a fitness check on Maupay, having gone off with what looked like a shoulder problem, when we speak to Graham Potter straight after the final whistle. And don't forget, Baker Brothers and Gabby Agbonlahor will be taking your calls. 08717 22 3344 is the number. Reacting to all the day's drama, not just in the Premier League but the EFL as well. A yellow card is shown to Mwepu for a foul on Cleverley.
It's a bad tackle, this one from behind, just wrapped both legs around Josh King. It is, I mean, it's a yellow, but
can we call that a computer malfunction?
Yeah, it could have been a little bit worse there.
Here's Sarr down the Watford right. 4 minutes plus stoppage time for the Hornets to provide some late sting at the Amex Stadium.
It's getting a little bit niggly. Obviously Brighton maybe trying to stop Watford in their tracks, and Anthony Taylor just calling it back again. Another foul, that time from Solly March.
Messina with the ball into the area, headed back by Duffy to his goalkeeper Sanchez.
Well, look, when the ball goes into Troy Deeney there, you know he's going to make something of it, and just Emmanuel Dennis just caught on his heels behind him. You've got to be gambling, reading the little flick-ons. He's just not even expecting Troy to get on the end of that. In the end, it just dribbles through to the goalkeeper.
It's the voice of David Conley alongside me, Alex Crook, here on Talk Sport on game day. Brighton leading Watford by 2 goals to nil with only 3 minutes of normal time to play. The Seagulls in their 5th successive top-flight season. Only lasted 4 seasons last time that they graced the top division in English football and had to wait an awful long time to come back.
I tell you what, as well as Duffy being man of the match, I mean, Adam Webster couldn't be far behind. Basuma as well.
Here's Hernandez for Watford, still probing late in the game here as one or two of the home supporters begin to head for the exits. Atibo being urged to shoot from a long way out, blocked again by Duffy. What I like about the Brighton defenders is cleverly concedes a foul on Connolly. All of them, Webster, Duffy and Dunk, their first intention is just to stop everything making its way to goal. They are old school defenders, all of them, aren't they?
Yeah, and they put their bodies on the line, obviously, and they're physical. They give it, they take a little bit as well, but they can play. Make no mistake, they can play, and obviously they've got that added threat, aerial especially. from set pieces, good in both boxes, and obviously Webster's the dominant one in possession, very comfortable there, taken forward, and they'll be probably a nightmare to play against.
I wonder if that could be an issue for Ben White at Arsenal, because when you're used to playing alongside the likes of Lewis Dunk and Adam Webster, you almost don't have to worry too much about defending. I think certainly he was the one of the three that was more comfortable carrying the ball out from the back, arguably a better footballer. Doesn't really have that kind of strong-arm defender alongside him at Arsenal, does he?
No, and obviously the aggression that they have at the back as well from Brighton, those centre-halves.
I'm still surprised that bigger clubs haven't taken a closer look at Lewis Dunk. I think he's a bit unlucky as well not to have had more England caps by now. We spoke to him on Darren Bent's boot room a couple of weeks ago on Talk Sport, and he said he does aspire to be a one-club man, the like of which you don't get too many of these days. Having come through the academy, lives locally. He doesn't want to go anywhere. Here's Mwepu for Brighton, looking for a third. Mwepu on the edge of the area, shoots right-footed from 22 yards. Just wide of the left-hand post and behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, nice little give and go. 1-2 here. They break the play up and maybe could have just played this out wide. Obviously late doors, fancied his chances. Another pot shot from distance. I think they're finishing from outside the box has been disappointing though, Brighton.
We're into the final minute of the 90. Brighton leading Watford by 2-0 here on Talk Sport. Ismail Assar with the dancing feet on the right hand side to get away from Modder, crosses into the area. Deeney holds it up towards Cleverley, and Mwepu had to be in the right place there just to stab it behind for a corner.
Well, suddenly now when those crosses come in the box, Troy Deeney's just keeping the ball alive. He's getting across people, using his awareness, timing his runs well, and he's got that physicality as well, which I think they've missed.
Cleverley with a corner over to Sanchez, the goalkeeper, who just about managed to stretch out a big right hand and clear it away. Otherwise they could have been trouble for Brighton. Here's Connolly, sensible play from him, drew the foul from Messina, free kick right on the touchline on halfway, and we go into 3 added minutes at the end of the 90. He knew exactly what he was doing there, your namesake David.
Absolutely, and Messina's just got, he's got to be a little bit cuter there, more streetwise. He knows that Aaron's had a heavy touch, just don't make a foul, anything but that. I think he's been pretty disappointing, Messina, especially when he's had the ball. I wonder, Danny Rose on the bench, at what point will he come into the team?
Free kick chipped forward by Solly March. Referee Anthony Taylor is actually showing a yellow card. Is that for time wasted?
Yeah, I don't think he took that long extra on the ball, but...
Well, Lewis Dunk is bellowing at the fourth official. Not much that he can do about it. Solly March appears to be the player that Anthony Taylor waved the yellow card at. As the free kick is played forward, this time it's turned behind for a Brighton corner, and this will be a chance to eke away a few valuable seconds. 2-0, the Seagulls lead.
I mean, the camera's panning on Yves Bissouma. For me, I know Duffy, he got the goal obviously, but there won't be too many that played better than him. I think Adam Webster was superb as well, but Bissouma I thought was outstanding.
Another terrific performance from Bissouma, the Malian. He only cost them £15 million. I think when he does leave, you can add about an extra 35 onto that transfer fee.
What a pass that is from him.
Gross with a chip into the area towards Duffy at the far post, and Mwepu trying to keep it alive. Cleared as far as Jakob Modder. Still motoring forward down that right hand side. He's been tripped over, and it's going to be another free kick, and we've got only around about 65 seconds of the added on time to play. David Conley, a chance really to get your final assessment on what we've seen.
Well, I think it's been a difficult game for Watford. They responded well in this second 45, but I think the damage was done in that first half. Brighton were brilliant, possessed the threat, and for all that possession that normally doesn't yield them many goals. There's 2 games now, they've got 2 in 2, 4 goals out of the first 2, and they were excellent. And they've been in control, I think, in this second half.
Some potentially winnable games to come as well. They go to Cardiff in the EFL Cup in midweek. That will be a complete reserve side, I would imagine. Everton back here next Saturday, Brentford away, and then Leicester at home.
I think getting the home form right is massive for them as well. So to get a victory here, 3 points early on, It's huge.
Watford go to Tottenham next Sunday, and then Wolves at home, Newcastle away, their next trio of Premier League fixtures. Here's Truce Dekong. This will be the last meaningful action of the game. The 3 added minutes are up. One last chance maybe for Watford to get what now would be only a consolation goal, but again Josh King is dispossessed, and there goes the full-time whistle, bringing an end to what's been a fantastic evening for these Brighton supporters. Well, they only won back-to-back games twice last season. We're only 2 games into the new campaign. They've done that already. Also the first time ever they've won their first 2 top-flight matches in the season. Shane Duffy, the most popular goal scorer, heading the Seagulls in front from a gross corner on 10 minutes. Neil Maupay clinching the points 3 minutes before half-time with his second goal in as many games after Watford had been caught playing out from the back. The Hornets did improve in the second half, but the Brighton defence held firm. Full-time at a joyous Amex. It is Brighton 2, Watford 0.